After my parents passed away, my grandmother, lingering on her deathbed, entrusted me to my aunt. She urged me, once you arrive at your aunt's house, you must be sensible. When cousin scolds you, you should smile and accept it, saying cousin is right to discipline me. If cousin treats you coldly, you must treat him even better, until he is willing to accept you. I was sobbing, unable to speak, my heart filled with 10,000 reasons to refuse. When my parents were still alive, my cousins never looked at our family with any respect. They always said I came from a lowly background, unworthy of being their relative. Now that my parents have met with this tragedy, if I go there, I fear it will only provoke more of their hatred, and I will have to endure endless grievances and hostility. Grandmother clutched my wrist with a heavy heart, her tears streaming down faster than mine. I know, she said, I know it all, my dear granddaughter. Grandmother, is there really no other way? When you grow up a little more, the young master of the Zhou family will come from the northwest to marry you. Once you grow up, my dear, you will be able to have a life of your own. My dear granddaughter, you will have a world of your own. I could no longer hold it in, throwing myself onto grandmother and weeping bitterly. Little did she know the young Lord Zhou had just sent me a letter. A letter that was actually a cold-hearted marriage annulment written in his own hand. Hasty footsteps rang out outside the door. Aunt, casting aside the dignity of the Duchess, pushed open the door and rushed in. A cry of mother rang throughout the room. She threw herself onto grandmother's bedside, tears streaming down her face. Grandmother's body was already exhausted, holding on by a single thread of life, just waiting for Aunt to arrive so she could entrust me to her. Grandmother's eyes turned red, her gaze landing on me. She opened her mouth, trying to speak. Aunt choked back sobs and nodded. Mother, I understand everything. She is the only bloodline left by my younger brother. No matter what, I will take good care of her. Just then, the sound of a carriage approaching came from outside. Cousin Ji Ryan and Cousin Ji Mingzhao stepped down from the carriage one after the other. Seeing grandmother's condition, their expressions also grew solemn. My dear grandmother smiled faintly at them, taking my hand and placing it over theirs. Grandmother is handing Yinger over to you now. After I am gone, you two are the only blood relatives she has left in this world. Grandmother emphasized the words blood relatives with deliberate weight, hoping to stir some pity in them for me. My tears could not stop falling. Seeing this scene, the G siblings who had always looked down on me couldn't help but have redrimmed eyes as well. Don't worry, grandmother. The Duke's estate is very spacious. There will naturally be enough for cousin Yinger to eat. Ji Mingzhao was already a young man, and the Duke had already requested the title of heir for him. He now spoke and acted with poise and grace, no longer as arrogant as he used to be. Only then did grandmother feel at ease. She stayed alone in the room to hear Aunt's final instructions, while we waited quietly outside. After about the time it takes for half a stick of incense to burn, grandmother passed away. Grandmother had only 2 children, my aunt and my father. Now that both parents are gone, grandmother's funeral naturally had to be managed by my aunt. From the very beginning, Aunt had always looked down on my mother's merchant background, thinking that having such a sister-in-law tarnished the prestige of her Duke's household. This prejudice extended to me as well. Her attitude made her own children follow suit, never showing me a pleasant face. Even though grandmother has now passed away, and the 3 of them had promised at her bedside to take good care of me, facing me, there was only cold status and polite formalities. And these remaining formalities vanished entirely once my uncle arrived. My uncle and aunt came this time to fight for my parents' inheritance. Even though Yinger's parents are gone, she is not without support. These properties and farmlands of the Song family must be counted one by one in front of everyone immediately, and registered in the books to prevent anyone from stirring up trouble later. By the time Yinger is ready to be married, these must be handed over to her without a single penny missing. Aunt, hearing this, was furious. My mother's body is not yet cold, and you talk only of money. Stinking, of the smell of merchant copper. What does the Song family estate have to do with you? Since when is it your place to dictate things? Now that the Song family is under my control, I will decide how to handle it. Uncle sneered. When the Song family was short on money years ago, when he married my sister, why didn't he despise our Su family's merchant status then? If not for our merchant family, where would the great-aunt have gotten the dowry to marry into the Duke's estate? I fear it would have been hard to have such glory and face today. The Song family's wealth was all built up by my sister's dowry. Her only daughter is here. She is the flesh and blood of the Song family. It is not for you, a married-off daughter, to start making decisions here. The two argued endlessly. In the end, my uncle prevailed. He brought in the prefect and a legal scholar to complete the inventory, and everything was placed under my name. As for the income from the shops and farmlands, every year-end settlement, people from both the Su family and the Ji family would go to the Song family's accounting office to verify the accounts with the Song family's stewards, so that those crafty servants wouldn't bully me for being young and ignorant, and manipulate the books to deceive me. The ledgers were split into 3, managed jointly by all 3 parties, keeping each other in check. On the day I get married, they will all be returned to me in full. Aunt was red with anger, her whole body trembling. Ji Ryan and Ji Mingzhao looked at me with eyes full of coldness, no longer having their earlier pretense of politeness. After these matters were settled, uncle and aunt cried with me in private. Before leaving, they still repeatedly warned me, the Song family is part of the Duke's household. It is a noble and prestigious family. For the sake of this marriage with the Zhou family, you cannot grow up in the Su family. Your grandmother had everything planned for you before she passed away. Even though we feel so much pain for you, we cannot take you back to the Su family and ruin your future. If you were to grow up in a merchant's household, your reputation would be tainted by our status. Your aunt holds a grudge against the Su family, but you have the blood of the Song family in you. Just because of that, she won't treat you too harshly. Feel free to take all the blame and put it on us. As long as you can make her happy, it will be fine. These are a small portion of the deeds for the shops and properties under your name. After we leave, you should hand these over to your aunt to show your loyalty. Uncle and aunt explained everything in such minute detail, wishing they could bear it all for me. I swallowed my tears, not wanting them to worry about me any longer. My parents were framed. The Zhou family broke their promise. I must grow up quickly, learn to be patient and strong. Someday I will take charge and exact revenge for this blood debt. After uncle and aunt left, I took the property deeds to find aunt. Just as I reached the entrance, I happened to bump into the Ji siblings talking outside. As soon as Ji Ryan saw me, her willow eyebrows arched, her face filled with anger. She charged over, clutching her skirts, and suddenly raised her hand, slapping me hard across the face. She is older than I am, and has practiced martial arts since childhood, so this slap made everything go black before my eyes, and I fell to the ground. Warm blood dripped from the corner of my mouth, and I realized only then, with a dull sensation, the sharp metallic taste of blood in my mouth. Living for this long, this was the first time I had ever been hit. Ji Ryan pointed at me, listing my faults like a barrage of gunfire. My mother was kind enough to come and clean up your mess. And yet, as soon as you saw that bunch from the Su family, you forgot your own surname. If you care so much about your maternal family, why don't you just go back to the Su family with them? Why are you still thick-skinned enough to come and find my mother? She scoffed, looking at me with utter contempt. I see now. You also despise the Su family for being merchants, don't you? You know that the status of a merchant is low and would tarnish the clean reputation of your official family. That's why you rushed here to beg my mother to take you in and bring you to the Duke's estate. Full of calculations. Vile and annoying. Ji Mingzhao frowned and walked over. Ji Ryan, why are you laying hands on her? If this spreads, it will only ruin your own reputation, giving you a name for being vicious and shrewish. Who will dare to marry you in the future? Ji Ryan triumphantly put her hands on her hips. Tilting her head back, she has no parents now, no one to discipline her. I promised grandmother that I would properly discipline her. Before, it was uncle and aunt who spoiled her, which is why she developed such an annoying personality. From now on, I must properly teach her a lesson and fix her bad habits. In broad daylight, under the bright sun, with such a commotion, how could Anne not have heard? She was simply condoning her own daughter, teaching me, this traitor who bites the hand that feeds, a lesson for being an ungrateful wretch. I suppressed the lump in my throat, took a deep breath, held back my tears, and asked Ji Ryan, cousin, by what right do you hit me? By what status do you discipline me? And what wrong have I committed that requires you to act as an elder to punish me. You are merely bullying me because I lost my mother. And now even my grandmother is gone, with no one left to support me. Aunt is my real aunt. But is my uncle not my real uncle too? Then what do you want me to do? Must I, for the sake of aunt, betray the uncle who planned everything for me? I desperately suppressed my emotions, but tears fell uncontrollably with my words. Ji Mingzhao frowned tightly, ordering coldly, "All servants withdraw. Our cousin is just a bit tipsy, and is talking nonsense. Whoever dares to spread a word of what happened today, lock the courtyard gates. If anyone ruins the reputation of the second young lady of the Duke's estate, I will follow family rules to deal with you all." Truly a good brother. I wiped the tears from my face hard, a cold smile appearing at the corners of my lips. You all simply calculated that I have no way out now, and have to rely on your family to make a living. That's why you dared to humiliate me like this. My brows furrowed. And an idea struck me. Why not use their own game against them? I turned around, father-mother. Grandmother, Yinger is coming to see you all now. This life of living under someone else's roof, Yinger doesn't want to live it. And truly cannot go on living it. Aunt cannot tolerate Yinger, and my cousins are bullying me at every turn. Oh, how I miss you all. I threw myself toward the mouth of the well. Ji Mingzhao's eyes widened in horror, rushing to the edge of the well.
He hit his chin against the stone, bleeding profusely,
but managed to grab my hand in time. He was in so much pain that cold sweat broke out on his forehead, never expecting me to do something like this. A surge of anger rose up in him. Are you crazy? You want to die over such a small matter? Do you think this is worthy of your uncle and grandmother? How? Did your parents raise such a useless thing? Aunt could no longer stay calm. Hearing the maids outside shouting that the cousin has jumped into the well, she was scared out of her wits, clutching her chest and running out stumbling. Deep down, they all knew that if I were to die here today, it would be the end of them. If Ji Ryan is completely ruined, she can forget about making any good marriage prospects in the future. Even the entire Duke Enguo household would be implicated. Ji Mingzhao and I exchanged a glance. I could see panic written all over Ji Mingzhao's eyes. Aunt rushed over, crying out in a flurry, begging me to hand her my other hand. This was all the leverage I had left to my name. My father once said, "Aunt is my closest kin, and I am still young. I cannot defy my uncle, nor can I be the niece that aunt truly wishes for. This is the only way I can find a compromise. Aunt, consider this as me paying you back. I only ask that you arrange a proper funeral for me. I wish to be buried alongside grandmother." As soon as I finished speaking, I bit down hard onto Ji Mingzhao's wrist, pouring out all the resentment built up from years of their endless humiliation. Ji Mingzhao's face contorted in pain, yet he gripped my hand tightly, refusing to let go. He was terrified that if he released me, I would truly jump into the well. Aunt began to wail heart-wrenchingly. "It is all Aunt's fault." Aunt was muddle-headed. "You are still just a child. What do you even know? Come here, just live, I beg you. I have already lost your mother and your younger brother. If anything were to happen to you as well, how am I supposed to go on living? How would I face them?" Before the words had even died away, I bit Ji Mingzhao fiercely again, tugging at my arm, and deliberately shifted my body toward the edge of the well. Aunt let out a shrill scream and fainted on the spot. Ji Mingzhao, fearing that the delay might lead to more trouble, endured the sharp pain in his arm and pulled Ying away from the well. In the panic, both of them fell to the ground. Ji Mingzhao shielded Ying as they rolled on the ground twice. Ying also fainted during the struggle. Aunt lay unconscious on the ground. Ji Ryan slumped into a heap, weeping bitterly like a lost soul. "Ah, cousin! Is he all right? Is he truly all right?" Ji Mingzhao climbed up from the floor, then lifted the unconscious Ying. He questioned her with a hint of impatience in his tone. "Are you frightened now that things have gotten serious? Why weren't you this afraid when you were bullying her?" Her mother passed away suddenly, and grandmother has followed soon after. In just a few days she has become an orphan with no one to rely on. How could you be so heartless and intolerant? Ji Ryan burst into loud sobs. Mother said she looks as bewitching as her mother. If she isn't strictly disciplined and constrained, She might end up causing some shameful scandal in the future. In the Song family, we had no say. But once she is in the Duke's household, it would mean ruin for our entire family. Ji Mingzhao uttered these words coldly. From now on, she is under my care. You are forbidden from interfering. And you are strictly forbidden from bullying her again. Whether you truly want to discipline her, or you are just harboring jealousy and using this as an excuse to vent, you know that best in your own heart. Ji Ryan sobbed uncontrollably. Cousin, I won't ever do it again. I really want. Why haven't you gone to fetch the physician yet? When I opened my eyes again, half a month had passed. Aunt sat by the bed, weeping silently. Ji Mingzhao stood by the window, his brows tightly locked. His hanging sleeve concealed the finger I had intentionally broken. I looked around, but Ji Ryan was nowhere to be seen. The room's decor was different from the old Song residence. It seemed I was already within the Duke Nguo household. Seeing me wake up, Aunt hurriedly wiped away her tears and ordered Ji Mingzhao to bring the medicine. This is all Aunt's fault. It is because Aunt didn't manage your cousin well. I have already punished her by making her kneel in the ancestral hall. When your uncle returns, I will discuss it with him, to adopt you under my name as my own daughter. From this day forth, you will be the legitimate third young lady of the Duke's household. I promised your mother I would take good care of you, and from now on I will surely treat you well. I felt filled with dread. I clutched the quilt tightly and turned away from the medicine spoon Aunt offered. A flicker of pain flashed across Aunt's eyes. I have truly failed you. Seeing me take the bowl and drink the medicine in one go, she and Ji Mingzhao left together. The moment Ji Mingzhao closed the door, he gave me a deep, lingering look. When he realized I was looking back at him, his eyelashes fluttered. Feeling ashamed to face me, he lowered his gaze to suppress his emotions, and quickly shut the door. The heavy stone in my heart finally settled. Although this tactic was risky, it allowed me to stand tall and with dignity in this Duke's household. I am unwilling to humble myself just to curry favor with others. I want them to treat me well out of sincere respect. Aunt proposed to the Duke the idea of adopting me as the third young lady of the house. The Duke did not immediately agree, but in the end it was Ji Mingzhao's persuasion that finally made the Duke nod in consent. My food and clothing were now exactly the same as Ji Ryan's. Ji Ryan abandoned her past arrogance. Whenever she saw me, her expression was always quite unnatural. Occasionally, when our eyes met, she would guiltily look away at once. Once my health was completely restored, Aunt had me and Ji Ryan go to the family school together. Ji Mingzhao had passed the imperial examination this year, so he no longer attended the family school. At the thought of not having to cross paths with him, I felt quite relieved. As night fell, Ji Ryan unexpectedly came to my courtyard, even bringing along the stationery needed for school. I put on a defensive and uneasy stance, cousin. Why have you come here all of a sudden? As soon as she heard this, she flared up. This is my home. Am I not allowed to step foot here? Seeing me purse my lips in silence, Ji Ryan bit her lip in frustration. With a mix of awkwardness and irritation, she shoved the book bag and pencil case into my arms all at once. The students in the family school are mostly noble young masters and ladies from the capital. They care the most about one's lineage and family status. You will come with me tomorrow and just sit beside me. I am your sister after all. If anyone dares to bully you, just tell me and I will handle it. And the Zhou family has kindly sent over your fiancé, young Master Zhou, will also be arriving in the capital from the northwest to study. He will temporarily reside in our manor. Although you two are betrothed, you are not yet officially married. You must not get too close to him. Now that you are nominally the sister of our Ji household, you must not disgrace the Ji family's reputation. Do you understand? I lowered my head and answered respectfully, knowing well that being too assertive would only backfire. Knowing when to stop is the best strategy. Seeing that I didn't, as I had before, return the gifts he sent back exactly as they were, Ji Ryan breathed a sigh of relief, her expression softening significantly. No sooner had she left than Ji Mingzhao also sent his maid with identical items. But compared to the 4 treasures of the study that Ji Ryan gave, the set he sent was much more precious and hard to find in the market. I had the maid return them completely untouched. Ever since I intentionally jumped into the well and was saved by Ji Mingzhao, his attitude toward me has completely changed. Every day he has people bring this and that, yet he avoids me, as if I were some man-eating beast. The gifts he sent were returned by me. But he didn't react. He only chose even better things to send over. No matter how many times I refused, he remained persistent. In the past, he would have glared at me and scolded me for being ungrateful. Besides, as for the finger I had personally snapped, I knew best how much force I had used. It would have required a royal physician to set the bone to heal. In the past, if he even scratched his skin, he would cry in pain. But this time, there wasn't even a whisper of news, as if no one even knew his finger had been broken. A thought rose in my mind, but I suppressed it. If that were really the case, then all his attempts at atonement today, wouldn't they be hypocritically ridiculous? After enrolling in school, I happened to catch the monthly exam. I took the top spot. Whenever anyone asked me about the assignments set by the master, I explained everything without reservation. When someone asked me for my notes, I gave them readily. As time went on, my reputation for being gentle and polite spread. Because of my background as an orphan, my fellow students treated me with extra courtesy. Not only did no one make things difficult for me, but many young masters and ladies vied to give me gifts and snacks. G. Ryan mocked me when she saw this. Those people are just treating you like a servant to be tipped, and you hold on to it like it's a treasure. I didn't pay her any mind. I know who is sincere and who is fake, and I know which warmth is worth cherishing, especially that bunch in the academy, those idle young masters and ladies who were so enthusiastic toward me. They relied on me to do their homework and pass them notes to avoid punishment at home. My days became peaceful one by one, and I made quite a few generous new friends. Every day after school, people would invite me to their homes as a guest. G. Ryan's attitude toward me returned to its former sarcastic state, her words full of mockery. But I didn't take it to heart at all. I don't know why, but every time she saw me, she seemed to be holding back a flare of anger. I never thought about getting close to her, let alone offending her. Yet she would always lash out for no reason. Ji Mingzhao, who had been deliberately avoiding me, actually took the initiative to find me. Seeing me step back a few paces, with obvious vigilance, he became rather flustered instead. Ryan's temper is a bit strange. You need to coax her a little more. If you were more proactive in getting close to her, she genuinely treats you as her own sister. I have no interest in entangling myself with those two siblings. Life in the Duke's household is quite comfortable for now. I just hope we can all live our own lives and survive these 4 years without bothering each other. In these 4 years, I must focus on training with the Duke's martial arts instructor to make my body strong and resilient, to excel in my studies, to make more friends in the capital, to maintain good relationships, to learn how to manage shops and handle accounts, to understand the ins and outs of farm yields, and most importantly, to track down the culprit who killed my parents. There are many things to attend to. I must avenge their deaths while also living well. I don't have the time to waste on these two siblings. I deliberately said with a hint of provocation and a touch of probing to Ji Mingzhao, cousin, tell me, if my parents were still alive, would cousin dare to hit and scold me like that? She is the precious treasure of your Ji family, but I was also the precious treasure held in my parents' palms. Ji Mingzhao's face turned pale instantly. He didn't even care to weigh his words as he interrupted me. Your parents are already gone, no matter what you think. Only be careful. Only we are your only reliance now. He suddenly lost his composure and cornered me, grabbing my wrist tightly. Only then did I notice that he had lost a significant amount of weight. As if he had suffered some major blow in these 10 days, he looked completely haggard. Ying, forget about your parents' matters. I will make it up to you properly. From now on, I am the one in charge of the Duke's household. I will be your reliance. Treat me as you would your parents. Can you do that? I shook off his hand violently and cursed at him for being sick, and ran away, lifting my skirt. My suspicion was becoming more and more certain. Anger and hatred surged in my chest. But the more I felt this way, the more I had to keep my cool. Zhou Ningyun still hasn't appeared at the Duke's residence, which is like a knife hanging over my head. I have kept that annulment letter all this time. The handwriting is indeed Zhou Ningyun's own. The general and his wife haven't sent anyone to reclaim the betrothal tokens. On the contrary, at my parents' and grandmother's funerals, although they didn't come in person, they sent someone to deliver condolence gifts. Such impeccable etiquette. It only confirms my suspicion further. The annulment letter was merely Zhou Ningyun's own scheme. It could easily be dismissed, but I have more pressing matters to attend to right now. The imperial court announced that my parents died at sea, sacrificing their lives to save the common people. They posthumously honored my father as a loyal official, and granted him a prestigious title. Back when the tragedy struck my parents, my mother's personal maid faked her death to escape, and luckily survived. It was she who revealed the truth of their murder to my uncle. Had I not stumbled upon it by chance, my uncle would likely have kept me in the dark forever. He told me to wait patiently, and not to interfere, for he had arranged everything, determined to uncover the truth. Every grievance would be settled in due time, and I simply needed to grow up in peace, marry smoothly, become the wife of the heir, and live out my life in marital harmony. But those were the parents who gave me life, the ones who cherished and loved me. How could I just stand by and watch? How could I be at ease and think only of myself? I could never do it. After the Mid-Autumn Festival, the Sioux family arrived in the capital. I reported to Aunt, and with her permission, I went to visit the businesses my parents left behind. Since I live in the Duke's residence long-term, my uncle arranged for 10% of the annual profits to be sent to the mansion for my daily expenses. Aunt said it wasn't necessary, yet she couldn't hide the joy in her eyes. She also stopped blocking my correspondence with the Sioux family. Even the Duke's attitude toward me softened a little. When I met my uncle, before I could even speak of my own affairs, he told me first he had come to the capital to send cousin Su Minwen into the palace. I froze, the joy on my face vanishing instantly. Cousin is only 18. Why must it be this way? Cousin Minwen took my hand, pulled out her handkerchief, and gently wiped the tears from my face. Don't cry, my good cousin. This is a joyous occasion for me. I shook my head, my throat choked with emotion. 1,000 words in my heart. But I could only look at her with reddened eyes. She smiled at me, trying hard to suppress the sorrow deep within her gaze. For a family to prosper, it takes at least 3 generations of hard work. Back then, for the sake of the Sioux family's future, my aunt was willing to marry your father, exchanging it for a chance for the next generation of the Sioux family to sit for the imperial examinations. Now, my brother has made us proud, passing the exams and becoming a jinchi. Our family also secured the status of royal merchants through porcelain tributes, which is why I have the fortune to be chosen for the palace. I am doing this willingly. You don't know? For all these years, because of my background, I have been mocked at every banquet. I am determined to enter the palace, determined to prove them wrong, and make those who look down on me all kneel before me. Who knows? Perhaps in the future the Sioux family might even produce an empress. My uncle's face darkened, and he stood up to rebuke her. Watch your tongue. How can you utter such reckless words? I understood that cousin Minwen said those light-hearted things because she didn't want me to worry. My uncle's expression grew grave. He ordered cousin Minwen to stand guard at the door, allowing no one near, saying, "You must leave the Duke's mansion. Drink this, and you will fall into a deep sleep. Then I shall create a scene at the mansion and take you away." I stared at the porcelain bottle in my uncle's hand, but my heart was strangely calm. Uncle, you've found out too, haven't you? My father was murdered by the Duke of Anguo. My uncle gripped the bottle tightly. How did you find out? Since I was little, Mother repeatedly warned me that in this world, one only needs to see who benefits the most in the end, to know who the true culprit is. After my father passed away, the person who replaced his official position was the Duke of Anguo's protege. In the last 6 months, every night in the dead of silence, the back door of the Duke's mansion would quietly open, and men would carry heavy chests inside, straight into the warehouse. When the Duke of Anguo married Anne years ago, what was he after, if not the substantial dowry she brought? It has only been half a year since my father's death, and the Duke's mansion, which was once in dire financial straits, has suddenly transformed. Even the ornaments in this cousin's room have all been replaced with priceless porcelain and antiques. Being able to guess this was not a difficult task. I did not elaborate further. What truly confirmed this for me was actually Ji Mingzhao's attitude toward me. He is only 15, the pride of the Duke's mansion, pampered by everyone. From a young age, everything he has seen has been the goodness and splendor that others deliberately displayed to him. Precisely because of this, although he is selfish and arrogant, he has never reached the point of seeing human life as worthless. Moreover, the person was his own uncle who had always loved him dearly. He had shown nothing but disdain for me for years. Even my grandmother's deathbed request could not make him change his attitude. Only this explanation made sense. He knew long ago that my parents were killed by his father, and it was guilt that caused his sudden change in attitude. This is also why he has become so withered and hollow in such a short time. Because the one who lost his life was his beloved uncle, yet he could not reveal the truth. For the murderer was his own father, my uncle spoke urgently. Since you know everything, you must not stay in the Duke's mansion any longer. For the sake of the Su family's future, I let you sacrifice your mother's whole life. I will never let you repeat that tragedy. My uncle vowed. I will certainly avenge your parents. The Su family is now royal merchants, and I have paved the way with high-ranking officials in the palace. My uncle's voice choked up, turning his face away to suppress his overflowing emotions. I comforted him softly, Uncle. I understand everything you say. You must have suffered greatly to reach this point in half a year. But Uncle, I cannot leave right now. If I leave, the Duke of Anguo will surely become suspicious. A single moment of carelessness, and the entire Su family would be doomed. As the biological daughter of my father, I also hope to do my part. Uncle, would you be willing to stand by my side? Uncle suddenly burst into tears. He turned his back, covering his face with his hands, sobbing uncontrollably. It is your uncle who is incompetent, he wept. On the way back, I remained preoccupied with Uncle's lingering distress. Just as I left the carriage, I looked up and saw Ji Ryan waiting outside the main gate. Before I could even speak, her scolding was cut short, when a beggar rushed out from the roadside and grabbed her foot. She shrieked in terror, kicking the beggar viciously in the eye while screaming, "What are you all just standing there for? Beat this stinking beggar to death for me!" But I recognized exactly who this beggar was. On his exposed arm was a red mole, identical to the one my fiancé Zhou Ningyun has. I let out a sigh of relief in my heart. He had finally arrived as promised. I reached out to block the falling cudgels, frowning as I said to Ji Ryan, "Cousin, making such a scene is not good for your reputation. He only offended you because he was delirious with hunger. Just give him some money and send him away." Ji Ryan's anger grew even more intense. She shoved me aside. "Do you think you can act like a saint in front of me? You are always so warm to everyone. But you can't even spare a beggar? You're hellbent on taking his life." She pulled a long whip from her waist and lashed it fiercely toward Zhou Ningyun. I reached out to intercept it, and the tip of the whip landed on my shoulder. The sharp pain forced me to my knees and I gasped for air. Zhou Ningyun stood frozen in place, while Ji Ryan stamped her feet in anxiety, her eyes even welling up with tears of fury. I truly could not understand it. I was the one beaten and in pain, yet why was she the one crying? "I will follow you," he said. "I hate you to the bone." He rushed into the manor while crying. Zhou Ningyun spoke in a hoarse voice, dry as if he hadn't touched water in ages. "It is me, Song Yang. I'm enduring the pain. Let's go. Do not throw yourself at the young lady's feet again. Under the emperor's rule, men and women must maintain their distance. Cousin's desire to beat you is understandable. Do not hold a grudge against her," I said, forcing myself to stand, staggering as I prepared to leave. Zhou Ningyun, as if losing his mind, called out, "Song Yan. I am Zhou Ningyun, your fiancé." Aunt personally applied medicine to my bleeding wound. Aunt couldn't help but scold me a few times. Only when she finished did I lower my voice to explain. That was at the gate of the Duke's mansion. If I had really let cousin beat him to death, it would have tarnished her reputation. I was also worried that someone dissatisfied with cousin had intentionally found a beggar to ruin her name. If he had truly been beaten to injury, wouldn't that invite gossip? Who knows what kind of rumors would spread? Aunt paused for a long while. Her hand gripping the medicine jar tightened. She sighed deeply. "In the past, I only thought you were reserved, not fond of talking. I never expected you to be such a thoughtful and insightful child. I misjudged you in the past. If I had let you spend more time with Ryan earlier, perhaps you wouldn't have grown so arrogant." Zhou Ningyun recounted the old days of our correspondence, and I confirmed his identity. He had already been taken away to clean up. Settling Zhou Ningyun in the capital to study was the emperor's decree. In plain terms, it was to hold him as a hostage, to keep the distant General Zhou in the northwest in check. On his way here, Zhou Ningyun was pursued by assassins, and all his guards were slaughtered. He only escaped by changing into commoner's clothes. He dared not reveal his identity, fearing it would invite a death sentence. He lived among beggars for more than half a year, before finally reaching the capital. When he arrived at the Duke's mansion, before he could even introduce himself, he fainted from hunger, collapsing right at G. Ryan's feet. The Duke came to see me specifically after the morning court session. He first reprimanded Aunt. "Look at the fine daughter you've raised. She even dares to lay hands on a scholar." Then he turned to me with a kind smile. "Good girl, if you hadn't blocked that whip, we would have formed a lasting grudge with the Zhou family." I looked at his smiling, kindly face. This is only my duty as a niece. After Zhou Ningyun recovered his health, he went to the palace once. The emperor summoned the Duke once more. Zhou Ningyun was settled into the Duke's mansion. After his recovery, he began studying and writing with me and Ji Ryan. Ji Mingzhao was sent to the Beiladong Academy, forbidden from returning to the capital for 3 years, and only allowed back after participating in the imperial examinations. On the way to the clan school, Ji Ryan spoke with a slightly awkward tone. "Let's wait for young Master Zhou. It's his first time going. He probably can't find the way." I mercilessly exposed her intentions. "Then you can wait for him. Anne has already prepared a servant from the household for him. He has someone to guide him there." Ji Ryan stamped her feet, reaching out to grab my arm. "I insist that you wait with me." My expression darkened. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Zhou Ningyun appearing at her side, so I shook off her hand. "Ji Ryan, if you want to target Zhou Ningyun, then have your parents deal with him. Do not drag me into your attempts to get close to him in my name." Seeing that I was truly angry, her tone softened. Ying, don't be annoyed. Isn't he your fiancé? Don't you like him? Do you really not want to see him at all? I heard these past few days he has come to your courtyard to see you every time, but you wouldn't even open the gate. I adjusted my clothes. As if it were difficult to speak of, he is no longer my fiancé. Zhou Ningyun, who had been listening for a while, interrupted me. He spoke politely to Ji Ryan. "Second miss, could you please step ahead? I have a few words I would like to speak to her alone." Ji Ryan pretended to leave reluctantly, but turned the corner and hid behind a wall to eavesdrop. I looked at Zhou Ningyun with an expressionless face. "I have already received the annulment document. Both my parents and my grandmother have passed away. No elder can make decisions for me. Can you grant me a 4-year extension? Once the matters are settled, I will report everything truthfully to my aunt. Let her step in to make the final decision. Then our 2 families can call off the engagement." That is not the case. Zhou Ningyun looked slightly anxious. A thin layer of sweat appeared on his handsome face. No wonder Ji Ryan had set her heart on him. He was indeed blessed with good looks. He explained to me that it was his own lack of foresight back then. The letters from the Northwest were too slow. When I sent the letter, I didn't know about your parents passing. And I certainly didn't know that the day the letter arrived was exactly the day your grandmother passed away. I have been filled with regret these days. The reason I agreed to this engagement earlier was because it was arranged by my parents. No one had ever asked for my opinion. But now that I have met you, I realize how kind and rare you are. This engagement is your only reliance at the moment. How could I bear to abandon you? Ying, I am willing to marry you. Please give me a chance to make amends. I laughed to myself. To think that even receiving his favor is such an absurd affair. It is simply ridiculous. But I am no longer willing. You are right. Young Master Zhou, our engagement was a command from our parents. No one has ever asked for our thoughts. Now that I see you, I only feel disappointment. If I were to marry you, I fear I would regret it for the rest of my life. His once flushed face turned pale and gray, inch by inch. After class, Ji Ryan dragged me to a secluded spot. The conversation between you and young Master Zhou. I heard it all. Are you truly decided on giving him up? I followed her lead and replied, "Yes, I am giving him up. If you don't want him, then I shall take over." Frankly speaking, I have always disliked you all these years. The root cause lies in your engagement with the Zhou family. In terms of background, I am far superior to you. But when it comes to marriage, I can only choose from families of equal status. Yet those stubborn ones are incompetent in both letters and martial arts. I don't fancy any of them at all. Young Master Zhou is the only son of General Zhou. The Zhou family is not only immensely wealthy, but they also hold real military power in their hands. Instead of letting someone else benefit from it later, why not give him to me? From that day on, Ji Ryan chased after Jo Ning-yoon all day long. And I focused only on my own affairs. Cousin Minwen only began to receive favor 3 years after entering the palace. I always worry about her in my heart. I often dream that her life is difficult, begging me to save her. Every time I wake up in a start, my pillowcase is soaked with tears. Cousin Sue obtained an official position and was sent to be in charge of maritime transport. The emperor told him, Song Jin was your uncle-in-law, so you shall take over the tasks he left unfinished. My father served as the governor of maritime transport during his lifetime, exclusively managing maritime trade. Sea trade is highly profitable. My father was incorruptible and selfless. The Duke of Anguo tried to squeeze profits several times, but was refused every time. My aunt also asked my father several times, but he still would not compromise. When the Duke of Anguo learned that Su Wenjiao was going to handle maritime transport, he specifically checked to see if it was a trick. Once he confirmed it was a direct imperial order, he finally felt at ease. That year, cousin Minwen gave birth to twins. The emperor was pleased and directly promoted her to noble consort. Cousin Wenjiao, due to his contribution at the shipping ports, sent vast amounts of gold and silver into the emperor's private treasury, and was therefore promoted. The illicit gains he sent to the capital were more than the total amount seized by the Duke of Anguo's own brother in previous years. The Duke of Anguo was sitting on pins and needles. To him, the only consolation was that Ji Mingzhao was returning. He had passed the imperial examination 2 years ago, and was then sent by the Duke to the barracks to gain experience for 2 years. Now he serves before the emperor. Having not seen him for many years, he has changed quite a bit. But his gaze towards me grows increasingly complex. After he returned, seeing Ji Ryan following Jo Ning-yoon everywhere, he immediately put on his good brother act. Whenever Ji Ryan wanted something, he would find ways to help her get it. Jo Ning-yoon, confused, ended up having physical contact with Ji Ryan. His horse suddenly lost control, and Ji Ryan rushed forward to embrace him, managing to calm the unruly horse. This scene was witnessed by many. The rumors spread like wildfire. Ji Mingzhao came to my door, demanding that I take out the engagement annulment letter that Jo Ning-yoon had written to me back then. Ryan has sincere feelings for you. You should give her a hand. Only in this way can his reputation be preserved. As for your own marriage, do not worry. I will marry you myself. Marrying me is far better than marrying that coward who couldn't even pass the examinations. He knew clearly in his heart that Jo Ning-yoon was merely hiding his true nature to keep the emperor at ease. But I still took out that annulment letter, because the Duke of Anguo had also come in person, using both soft and hard tactics on me. Both their families were eyeing the prestige of connecting with the Zhou family. Song Ying has a rich dowry and no real backing. Would the Su family really offend the Duke's mansion just for a niece? If you don't like him, just take him in, feed and clothe him for 2 years, then send him away. Then you can find a more suitable match for Mingzhao. Are you crazy? She is my own niece. If you marry her, you must treat her well. My aunt wept while apologizing to me, saying she had failed me. I did not take it to heart. The rumors outside grew increasingly rampant. At first, everyone cursed me for being shameless, saying I abandoned a noble husband to climb up to a cousin. Later, the rumors became indignant, and many began to defend my honor. Actually, Ji Ryan had been pestering Jo Mingyan for many years. She chased after him relentlessly. The Zhou family quickly agreed to their union. When Jo Mingyan was to marry Ji Ryan, the Zhou family already held no affection for me. As for whom Jo Mingyan chose to marry, to them it was merely changing a name. Compared to me who had lost both parents, Ji Ryan was naturally the more suitable candidate. Jo Mingyan publicly claimed that he was the one who had failed me, instantly turning me into a pathetic figure in everyone's eyes. Ji Mingzhao, fearing any complications, wanted to cut off any chance of me changing my mind. He intentionally scheduled our wedding day to be the exact same day as the wedding of Jo Mingyan and Ji Ryan. That day was supposed to be a joyous occasion for both families, but Jo Mingyan left without saying goodbye, and his whereabouts remained unknown. Regardless of whether the Zhou family came today or not, I remain the legitimate daughter-in-law of the Zhou family. The wedding protocols must be followed to the letter. And the new bride of the Duke's household was busy in the bridal chamber dealing with the aftermath. My father-in-law, the Duke, couldn't avoid me and sent someone to relay a message, claiming he had found evidence that he had murdered my parents. He arrived in a great hurry, impatient to silence me.
He didn't take me seriously at all.
Not even bringing any guards with him. In his eyes, taking my life was easier than slaughtering a chicken. I spared your life. Gave you food to eat, and yet you are so ungrateful. On the table, there were white peanuts, longans, and red dates, symbols of fertility and blessings. Lying across it was a drawn sword. The people in the courtyard had already been cleared out by him. He wore a sinister smile, advancing toward me step by step. You want to kill me alone? Or did you want to lure me into a trap? My parents died for loyalty and justice, sacrificing themselves for the people. Before the words had faded, the sword pierced through his chest. He looked back suddenly, only to face Ji Mingzhao, whose face was filled with utter terror. Ji Mingzhao's eyes turned bloodshot, and he loosened his grip. The Duke of Anguo collapsed heavily to the ground, drawing his last breath. His eyes were wide open, as if he could not rest in peace. The timing was so perfect, not a moment too early or too late. Ji Mingzhao instinctively wanted to turn and flee, but then he suppressed his panic, forcing himself to stay calm. He muttered to himself. He sought his own death. I took a step back, but he closed in on me, grabbing my shoulders tightly with both hands. With tears streaming down his face, he squeezed, shouting hysterically, I did all this for you. Ying, I killed him only for you. Everything he owed you, I have collected for you. He doesn't owe you anything anymore. Nor does he owe my uncle anything. He didn't even have time to compose himself before rushing to handle the aftermath. Among the troublesome matters, a guard stepped forward to take the blame for him. They claimed that the Duke of Anguo had stolen his wife, so he had specifically chosen the day of the Duke's son's wedding to seek his revenge, deliberately trying to humiliate the entire Duke's household. Ji Mingzhao could never have imagined that before entering the bridal chamber,
He had consumed that cup of wine which induces confusion
and causes hallucinations. The angle from which he entered the door coincidentally made it look like the Duke was swinging his sword at me. And I, from beginning to end, remained clean and innocent, without a single blemish. On the day the Duke of Anguo was buried, Ji Mingzhao spoke to me with a calm expression. Ying, I have been thinking whether what I feel for you is more guilt or more pity. But now I can finally look at you directly and speak to you. Since we have already performed the wedding ceremony, let us try to live our lives together. You try to like me, and I will try to love you. Let's live the rest of our lives well. I did not answer him, because cousin Wenjiao had returned to the capital. He brought the evidence that uncle and he had collected over these years. While Ji Mingzhao was escorting the Duke's coffin to the burial, they were in the imperial court accusing the Duke's household of fraud. From the very beginning, I never considered this marriage a true union. Try to like Ji Mingzhao, my brain is perfectly fine. Who would like someone who has mocked, humiliated, and bullied me since childhood? Besides, this person is the biological son of the one who killed my father and mother. I am not bored, nor is my brain damaged. When the emperor saw the report on my parents' death, he showed no reaction at all. But upon seeing the account book of the Duke of Anguo embezzling military funds, he flew into a rage, simply because that money was supposed to fall entirely into his own private treasury. The Duke of Anguo was already dead, but the emperor's fury had not yet subsided. He not only stripped them of their titles, but also ordered the confiscation of the duke's property. All assets were seized, and his descendants were reduced to commoners. Cousin Li Wen obtained an imperial decree for me, a single sheet of paper, completely annulling my marriage to Ji Mingzhao. As Ji Mingzhao returned from the funeral, he saw the imperial guards outside, his face full of disbelief. When he learned the truth, he collapsed from the overwhelming shock. But these things no longer concerned me. I took the dowry my parents had left me, and returned to the Song family by boat. Before leaving, I intended to visit cousin Mingwen, but she refused to see me. She sent a message, the great task is not yet achieved. Why let you shed more tears for me? Just wait. Wait for the day I have someone carry you into the palace in a sedan chair. That would probably be after she becomes the Empress Dowager. I prayed silently in my heart, hoping her wish would be fulfilled soon. And I, too, shall set off to pursue the life I yearn for. I decided to adopt an heir, to continue the Song family's lineage and legacy. Time passed, and half a year flew by. I found a suitable candidate to adopt. Just as I was laying out paper to draft a letter of dissociation for my uncle, an uninvited guest arrived at the door. The visitor was none other than G. Ryan. After the G family's downfall, the Zhou family immediately turned their backs on her, refusing to acknowledge her as their daughter-in-law. She was sent back to the Ji household, while Zhou Ningyun, who had fled the marriage back then, swaggered his way back into the Zhou residence, continuing to live as the heir of Zhou. Ji Ryan wailed, "Ying, she is dying. She has been constantly whispering your name. Please, go see her for the last time." When I refused, she flew into a rage, raising her hand to strike me, but I slapped her to the ground instead. She sobbed incoherently, "Ying, our family has been providing for you these past few years. Even if you resent me, that is one thing. But how has my brother ever treated you poorly? How could you let Zhou Ningwei break his legs? Even if my father harmed your parents, my mother has never once wronged you. How can you be so heartless that you won't even visit her on her deathbed? You treat everyone else with a smile. Why are you so cold-blooded toward my family alone?" My heart remained completely unmoved. I only felt a wave of nausea. Ji Mingzhao's legs have nothing to do with me. He is simply narrow-minded, still holding on to that old grudge from when your brother schemed to force physical contact between you and him. Now that your family has fallen on hard times, he naturally took the chance to kick you while you were down. As for your mother, you should go and ask her yourself why my father became delirious right before he passed, after eating the pastries she sent, unable to catch his breath. Go ask her why she specifically added lily, flower stems, and leaves to those pastries. Ji Ryan stood stunned in place. Lily bulbs are commonly used as a garnish for pastries. How can you blame that on my mother? I spoke to her coldly. My father was allergic to lily flowers. That is a secret only your mother knew. I only found out after scouring through my father's old letters and records. Only then did I uncover the truth. Ji Ryan, your family never raised me. Even the dowry your mother took when she married into the Duke's household, as a second wife, was something my mother had scraped together for her. Yet, after she married into that house, hearing a few cold remarks from outsiders, she severed all ties with my mother. Not helping the Su family was one thing, but she even worked against us behind our backs. When it comes down to it, you all have always been the ones who owe me. That slap was what I owed you back. From this day forward, do not ever set foot in my Song family residence again. Only siblings truly understand each other's hidden weaknesses. In the end, they are the only ones who can betray each other. 3 days later, news arrived from the Ji family that my aunt had passed away. I did not go. I only lit incense for my parents. I gazed at the portrait of my parents on the wall and silently whispered in my heart, "Aunt, where you are going, you will surely need it. What you owe my parents. It is time for you to pay them back in person."